The lost fleet, the void around Jupiter, was on fire. What had once been the silent majesty of space now burned with chaos, human ships exploding like dying stars, fragments of hull plating tumbling in glowing arcs before vanishing into the abyss. The Alpha Fleet, pride of Earth, was breaking apart. 12 human warships stood against more than 50 Kraal destroyers, their sleek, predatory shapes cutting through the darkness. The Kraal knew no mercy. They accepted no surrender. To them, humanity was nothing more than a young species that had dared to claim the stars before it was ready. At the heart of the battle, the SSS Olympus, the fleet's flagship, shook violently under the relentless assault. The bridge glowed red with emergency lights as consoles sparked and bulkheads screamed from the strain. Admiral Helena Rivas, veteran of 5 bloody campaigns, stood tall at the command dais, her voice cutting through the chaos. Lateral shields, reinforce. Forward batteries, keep firing, don't let them breathe. We may fall today, but we'll drag them into the grave with us. Her officers exchanged grim looks. They knew this was the last stand of Alpha Fleet. Alarms howled, hulls ruptured, human lives winked out in silence one after another. And then something impossible appeared. Sensors screamed of a gravitational disturbance just beyond the battlefield, a collapsed fold space anomaly, a wormhole, unstable, deadly. Entering it meant madness, destruction, but staying meant certain death. A young lieutenant, his voice trembling, shouted, "Admiral, if we jump into the anomaly, there's a chance. We might survive." Helena stared at the holographic projection of Earth floating beside her chair, a reminder of what was at stake. Home, family, humanity itself. "If this is our end," she said, her voice steady, "then let it be among the stars." She raised her hand. "All ships, prepare for emergency fold. Follow my lead." Engines roared. Human warships banked toward the anomaly, their battered hulls glowing against the vortex's twisted light. Behind them, the Kraal pursued with savage fury. But when the wormhole collapsed in a blaze of impossible energy, only debris and silence remained. Exile in the shadows. The jump hurled them into silence. The familiar constellations of home were gone. Around them stretched a galaxy of strange stars, none charted, none known. Humanity's finest fleet had been cast into exile. The first months were hell. Supplies dwindled, fuel ran dry. Wounded soldiers begged for medicine that didn't exist. Mutiny whispered through the corridors of shattered ships. Yet Alpha Fleet did not break. They scoured barren worlds, harvested toxic atmospheres, melted frozen moons for water. They buried their dead in alien soil, and still they marched forward. And then they found the ruins. A dead civilization, long extinguished, yet leaving behind monuments of black stone and machines that defied human comprehension. Technology older than Earth itself. There were weapons that bent matter like clay, shields woven from quantum threads, machines that fused flesh and steel into something stronger. Admiral Rivas gathered her fleet in the shadow of those ruins. Her voice was steel. "We are the last of Earth. If we cannot return, then we must become something greater, something the Kraal cannot even imagine." And so the transformation began. Human engineers tore apart alien devices, grafting their secrets into human warships. The Olympus and her sisters were reborn, hulls bristling with hybrid cannons, drives that sang with alien resonance. The wounded and broken volunteered for augmentation. Soldiers who could no longer stand walked again, reforged as living weapons, cyborg warriors with steel in their bones and fire in their hearts. The Alpha Fleet had died in that wormhole. What emerged from exile was something else, something darker, something stronger. They were no longer the Alpha Fleet. They were the Lost Fleet. The return, decades passed. On Earth, Alpha Fleet became a myth, a story whispered in military academies, heroes who sacrificed themselves so humanity could live another day. But the Kraal had not stopped. They advanced relentlessly, world by world. Their armadas swept through the outer colonies, until finally they reached Saturn. The Sol system trembled on the edge of annihilation. And then space itself tore open near Mars. Sensors lit up, distortions rippled across the void. Out of the rift emerged a fleet of blackened ships, their hulls jagged, etched with alien sigils that pulsed like veins of fire. Earth's Defense Command watched in horror. Were these more invaders? Another enemy come to feast on their bones? Then a transmission cut across every channel, every frequency, every screen. This is Admiral Helena Rivas. This is the Lost Fleet. We are home. The final battle, the Kraal believed they were facing a beaten species. Fragile, weak, broken,